Okay, in the second ZIO Streams video, I just want to take a few more steps with ZStream. And to do that, we're going to have a few more transformations, and then we're going to work with the final result or final result processing just a little bit more. So if we look at the code, we have the same imports as before, or actually I just updated this to 2.1.16. The first two imports here are the same. The third import is something I've just created called console print. So that's in this ZIO file. And what I'm doing here is I create a console print function. And the idea is I just want to have orDie on all of these so that all of my console.println method calls return nothing instead of IOException. That's kind of a little point with me lately. So that's what I'm doing here with this console print function. And then back over here, I import that. And then anywhere down here where I do printing, I use console print. And again, the whole point of this is just get rid of all those IO exceptions because I think they just kind of clutter up the code. You really don't have to worry about IO exceptions when you're printing to the console because if you do, something's really wrong with your console. So I change all of those to nothing by doing this. Again, a UIO of unit is the same as a ZIO of any, nothing, and in this case, unit right there. So if I did not use orDie, that would be the IO exception. I don't like that, so I got rid of that. So that's what this import line is all about right there. And then another thing to note here is because I'm now using this separate file, when I run the code, I have to run this file, and then I also have to specify the ZIO utils file when I run that. That's just a point about using Scala CLI right here. So now scrolling back up here, just like I did last time, I put this code up here so you don't have to think about the stream down here or where it comes from. I am creating it from a list again, so you see we have a list, this time 4 words in there, hello ZIO streams world, and then I do create a Z stream just like I did before from an iterable. So that is the same. But now I just want to get that off the screen and look at the code down here. And again, once we're inside of here, just think of that code as a stream and don't worry about where it came from. And as a note here, just think that it's a Z stream. Any environment will do, it cannot fail, and you're working with strings when you're working with a stream. So that's all you have to know. And as a note here, we're going to transform the data using multiple transformations. So I start with the stream right here. Then I call map on that. And again, I uppercase the current value. Then I call filter and say, if the string length is greater than 3, not sure why I put parentheses there, but if the string length is greater than 3, keep the words. And then I call map again on this line and transform the current word so it says processing the current word right there. So this one is called process stream, and you can see its type there is Z stream, any, nothing, and string. And actually what I want to do for our case here is to add that type in because I think it's going to be important to see the types for right now. So again, that's a process stream, Z stream, any, nothing, string right there. And that was step 2 right there. The next step is step 3, and now we're going to consume the stream and have a terminal operation. So this is almost exactly what we had before. The only thing I did different here was I showed that we can start with the process stream right here. And then what I'm doing is I'm tapping into the stream right here. And then because I'm working with string values, I call this a message. I could have called it any sort of different thing related to being a string. So we could call it text, for example. But anyway, I just wanted to show that you can tap into a stream while the stream is running to do something like this. And typically you do this for debugging or something like that, so you can keep an eye on the stream. You might log this information somewhere, or if you're working with a lot of data, you might log every 1,000 messages or every 1 million messages or something like that, just so you can keep an eye on the stream. And that's what tap lets you do. It lets you take a look at what's going on in the stream, but it doesn't modify the stream. And then you can see in the next line, we work with for each, just like we did in the previous example. And all I'm doing here is just saying, print each message to the console. So the result of this in this example is that I'm going to print each message to the console twice, once with the tap and then once again right here. After that, step 4 here is the usual ZIO run value. So we create the run value. And in this case, I'm showing it with the for expression. I think in the previous example, I just said run and then run equals process stream. So here I'm trying to make this just a bit more real world like and say that a run value is typically going to be a for expression, something like that. So here I just do a console print starting the stream processing. Oh, and let me go backwards for just a second. I forgot to note that this process stream here is a stream, a Z stream that we got right up there. And then this stream program right here is going to be a ZIO value. So you can see that ZIO value right there. And the reason for that is we're converting the stream and we're calling for each in this example and then printing out our message there. So we're finished with the stream. And when we do finish with the stream, that's why we end up with a ZIO value right here. And again, the ZIO, any environment will do. That one's a little messed up, but the unit comes from the fact that we're printing out here. And in fact, that ZIO type should be ZIO, any, nothing, and unit like that. That should work just fine. We'll run that in just a second. I've seen that E1 value recently. I think that's a little bit of a bug there. But getting back to the run value, again, it's a for expression. Console print, we're starting. Then we run the stream program, and I wanted to note that the stream program was a ZIO value. Then we do console print again. So that's the way our application works or runs right here. So let me save that and scoot that over there. This one is called 102 process list. So we can say Scala CLI 102 process list and run that. And that failed because I did not follow my own instructions on how to run the program. So let's copy that right there, paste it here, and run that. Okay, and then other than the warning message, you see everything that we expected. So if we scroll back down here to the program, you see starting stream processing right there. Then we run the stream program, which is this program right here. So over here, we should see about to output would be the first line, and we see that right there, about to output that. Actually, we're seeing processing hello right there because I forgot that I added processing up here. So it actually shows about to output and then processing hello. And then we do see processing hello on the next line, which is coming from the string that's created in this map line right there, and then is being output in this line right here. So we'll see a series of that for every word except for the one, right? Because we're saying we only want to keep the words that are longer than 3 characters. So the ZIO does not show up in our output over here because we're filtering it out. Right here, we're only keeping the ones longer than 3. So we see hello, streams, and world, hello, streams, and world. Okay, so in summary, that was our second application. We started off very similarly. We created a list of string. We used from iterable to convert that into ZIO stream or Z stream right there. Then we came into our code and we said, let's take that stream and let's start processing it. Let's call map and then filter and then map again and start processing that stream. And as we're processing the stream and we're not syncing it anywhere, we're not sending it anywhere, the end result of this processing is another Z stream value right here. So process stream becomes a Z stream value created from our initial stream value over here. So that was something new that I wanted to show, is that you could start with one stream, add some processing or transformations to it, and then when you're finished with those, you end up with another stream like this process stream right here, which is also a Z stream. And then we finish up the way we did in the previous video by taking that process stream and calling for each to print each value out over here. And the thing I did differently here was also show that we can use tap on the stream. And using tap typically helps us get logging information like we have right here. And as I mentioned, it does not affect the stream. It's just like you're peering into the stream to see what's going on, but you're not affecting it at all. So then we print everything out there. At this point, we have a ZIO value. Our stream program is a ZIO value, as you see right there. And then we use that in the ZIO run value inside a for expression right there. So that's our second ZIO streams example. And again, I hope this has been helpful.